To Court Death, an episodic podcast. Written and directed by Leani Lopez. Starring Owen, Fogg, and Leani Lopez. Featuring music by Kevin MacLeod. Chapter 1.
Some people say that death is only the beginning. In my case, they don't know how right they are. That's who I am. That's what I do. I kill people. Let me clarify. I come to people when it's their time to die. I don't remember who I was before. Where did I come from? When was I born? What did I do in my life that was so bad I chose the contract instead? The only thing I held on to was my name. Warren. My name is Warren. I know my job, and I do it damn well. At least I used to. I remember when I first saw her. It was mid-morning and the world was well into its daily routine. I stood in a nursing home, an old man dying in his bed in front of me. The monitors tracking his vitals beeped quietly in the background until I touched his hand, and then he was gone. Business as usual. His name was barely scratched off my list before a new one took its place. Elisha Shepard. I felt my stomach twist, and then I was across the world, standing on a sidewalk in the sweltering heat. At least, it was supposed to be sweltering. I couldn't feel it anymore. I couldn't feel anything anymore. Haven't for a long time. She walked arm in arm with a man, laughing at what he was saying. They passed me without a second glance, yet my eyes never left her. Waiting. When she moved to open the passenger side of their car, she winced, favoring her left hand. The man noticed and opened the door for her, helping her in before moving to the driver's side. As she reached for the seatbelt, her eyes found mine. She didn't just see me, she noticed me, and there could only be one explanation why. Her time had come. We shared an intense look, and her smile slowly faded. The car turned dangerously into traffic, and as they rode past, I knew exactly how she would die. She never did buckle that seatbelt. The man wasn't paying attention. Still in the midst of his story, he didn't notice the light changed to red. By the time he saw the delivery truck, it was too late. I walked towards the destruction as everyone ran. Police arrived on the scene, pushing back the crowd to keep them out of the way. I moved past, completely unnoticed. Once I was close enough to the damage, I stopped and watched the scene, disinterested. The air stilled for a moment before my best friend Lance appeared by my side. Balding and slightly overweight, Lance was a fellow Reaper who seemed clearly more affected by the scene than I was.
I hate car accidents.
That's because it's how you died.
Thanks for that. Like I needed a reminder. Sad, isn't it?
Is it?
I guess if you haven't been doing this for as long as you have, it's sad. It is for me. Did you see it happen?
The black car ran a red light. The delivery truck hit them. Why are you here?
The truck driver's mine.
Lance motioned to the truck, where the driver was slumped over the steering wheel. He was dead. Well, almost dead. Lance pulled up his sleeve and examined the list on his forearm. Underneath a thick black band around his wrist, a list of names was carved into his flesh. All but the bottom was crossed out, though as we watched, it began to fill with blood.
Say, about a minute and he'll be gone.
45 seconds, actually.
How do you do that?
I didn't answer, too focused on the car with Elisha and the man. Lance stared at me for a moment before shaking his head and making his way toward the delivery truck. As he did, the spirit of the driver left his body and climbed down. The two exchanged words, and Lance took the man's hand, leading him away, and I gave my full attention to Alicia's car. The EMTs helped the driver from his seat. Only slightly scratched and still conscious, he would live. I find myself in his now vacant seat, staring at Alicia's crumpled body. She was slumped over the dashboard, unconscious, her face a gruesome mess as blood poured down from a large gash on her forehead. I pushed up my sleeve, reading my list. Her name was so bloody, droplets slid down my pale skin. In that moment, her eyes fluttered open. She saw me and tried to move, but I stopped her. Don't. You're injured.
What?
She spewed blood across the dashboard as she talked. I closed my eyes for a moment and winced, feeling the pain she felt. In the rear view, I saw my face briefly change, mirroring the same injuries as Elisha. They disappeared a second later. You've been in a car accident.
Are you okay?
What? I mean, I'm fine.
Okay, good.
She passed out again. I was confused by her immediate interest in my well-being. By all accounts, it didn't make sense. She was badly injured. She should have asked about herself, but she hadn't. I shook off the confusion and reached out to take her hand. When I did, she squeezed it. I couldn't help but stare for a moment before remembering why I was there. Elisha Shepard, let go. It's your time. Nothing happened. After a few seconds, I frowned. The world around us started to move a little faster. Elisha Shepard, it's your time to pass. Come with me. I looked down at my list and watched in surprise as her name turned back to black. The EMTs resumed their normal speed, and I found myself in front of the car, watching as they worked to save her.
Her pulse is slowing. Get me that stretcher. We need to get her out and stop the bleeding.
I watched the EMT load her into the ambulance. They closed the doors, and I appeared inside the vehicle. Sitting next to Elisha, I reached out to take her hand, more determined than before. Elisha Shepard, let go. It's time.
What do you mean?
Your time has come. Just let go. You will be at peace.
No, I don't want to die like this.
I'm sorry, but you don't have a choice. It's your time.
You always have a choice.
Shit, she's conscious. Get me a sedative.
The EMT gave her the sedative, and she fell unconscious once more. Miraculously, the monitor showed her vitals improving. I sat back in my seat, letting her hand slip from mine. I was confused, but mostly I was annoyed. The ambulance stopped outside a hospital, and the doors of the vehicle opened as the EMTs hurried to get her out. Doctors and nurses rushed to meet them. I wasn't in the ambulance anymore. I stood by the curb and watched. Her name was still black on my list, so I let my sleeve fall to cover it. I was needed elsewhere. With a final glance towards Elisha, I walked away, disappearing in the blink of an eye. The other Reapers were already gathered in the White Room when I arrived. Lance sat at the only piece of furniture, a large round table. He worked at a crossword puzzle, a fresh name on his visible list. Next to him sat Morena. With her long dark hair and soft features, she could easily be mistaken for the youngest, though I honestly didn't remember how long she had been with us. On Lance's other side, it was Femika. In her early 40s when she died, the thin woman was filing her nails. She had sharp cheekbones and her skin was the color of a spray tan, clashing horribly with the white, blonde hair stuck up in all directions.
You missed the meeting.
I was on assignment.
Still, bosses weren't too pleased.
Femika, stop it. You know the bosses didn't give a shit.
Did I miss anything important?
Nah, they were checking in. Nothing to report.
You know, if it had been me, they would have been furious. But no, it was Mr. Perfect.
That's because they don't like you.
They adore me.
How can you tell?
Yeah, they have those hoods. You can't even see their faces.
I just know.
Lance rolled his eyes and made a rude gesture when Femika turned away. and it took all my willpower to hold back a laugh.
I saw that.
Children, behave.
So, Warren, what did you think about the accident? Pretty terrible, huh?
It was unfortunate.
Did you see that guy run the red light? Just went right through it. I don't understand why it's so hard for people to just pay attention to what they're doing, you know? There would be far less accidents in the world.
Common sense escapes most.
I don't think it's just that. I think people are idiots. They go about doing whatever they want, even though they know they shouldn't. If you ask me, the other driver should have been on my list. Not the man in the truck. Did you know he was a father of 3? He wasn't even supposed to be on that route. Did you get yours from the crash? She looked really bad.
No, I didn't.
Really? You didn't get your soul, Mr. Perfect? What happened? You screw up?
Nothing happened. Wasn't her time just yet.
She looked pretty ready. But we all know how tricky these things are.
Yeah, but Mr. Perfect here has never missed a soul. You gotta think he messed up somehow. You sure nothing happened? Like, did she fight you or something?
It's not like he could just kill her. He can only help her along if there's no coming back. He'll collect her when she's ready to be collected.
I just find it strange that Mr. Perfect didn't collect a soul on the first try. I don't think that's ever happened.
Can you stop calling him Mr. Perfect? You sound like an asshole.
Raina, it's fine. She can call me whatever she likes, I don't care.
Maybe she should worry about her own track record instead of focusing on other people's.
Excuse me?
You've had your fair share of souls refusing to cross over. How many times has one of us had to swoop in and take over for you?
That wasn't my fault. Just because I have more difficult souls than the rest of you.
That's not it. You just don't know how to be nice to people.
I am nice. People are just stupid and can't accept the facts.
Famke, they're dead. You of all people know how difficult it is to accept that.
Fine. I guess that's true. It still doesn't change the fact that I have it worse than you guys do. It's like every soul I try to collect fights me. Every single time.
Yeah, sure. It's the souls that are the problem. Couldn't possibly be anything else.
You can't talk to me like that.
Oh, really? What are you going to do about it?
I will go right back into that room and summon the bosses.
And what do you think that will accomplish? Am I going to get a written warning? Is it going to go into my file?
Don't you dare mock me.
All right, enough. After 20 years, I'm really tired of this same argument. How about we sit in silence?
I'm going to my room. Unable to stand the bickering, I removed myself from the table, walking through the door that suddenly appeared to my right. My room was small, although the proper term would be cozy. Though sleep is unnecessary, one does tend to miss the mortal comforts from time to time. I laid down on my bed with a heavy sigh. Now that I was away from the others, I could feel the mental exhaustion take hold. Maybe not exhaustion per se, more like restlessness. The urge to collect more souls preventing me from ever truly relaxing. I pulled back my sleeve and stared at my arm, tracing the names with my fingertips. Elisha Shepard should have died. She was there, but something happened when I touched her hand. I could feel not just her pain and sadness, but also her anger. So much anger. Why was she so angry?
I laid motionless in my hospital bed, listening to the sounds of the monitors beeping. On the bedside table were fresh sunflowers, but I don't exactly remember where they came from. Time slipped away when you're on the brink of death. I closed my eyes when the door opened, listening to the sounds of the night nurse going about her rounds. There was stillness for a moment, and then the energy in the room shifted. Tired, but curious, I lifted my eyelids just high enough to peek out from under them. The man from the crash stood at the foot of my bed. Without a word, the nurse swept past him, leaving us alone. He watched me for a few seconds, and then swayed and leaned forward to catch himself. He clutched his chest and shut his eyes, almost as if he was in pain. It obviously didn't last long, because the next thing I knew, He had knelt by my side. He studied me so carefully that I had no choice but to open my eyes. Am I dead?
Not yet, but you will be soon.
Who are you?
I'm here to collect you.
Do you have to?
It's your time. You have to let go. It'll be all right.
How do you know that?
Because it's my job.
He took my hand in his, and yet I almost didn't feel it. You were in the car with me.
Yes, I was.
Is Cole dead?
Who?
Cole, the man driving my car.
No. He will live.
So he gets to live, and I don't? That's bullshit.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to die.
No one does.
You were there in the street when I got into the car.
You saw me because it was your time.
Are you sure I'm dying?
Why do you ask?
Because it's getting easier to breathe. Is this it? Are you doing this? My vision was sharper, and I felt more alert. Loud voices sounded from outside the door, and I shut my eyes. I recognized one of those voices, and Cole was the last person I wanted to see. He burst in with the nurse a second later.
Eli!
He rushed to my side, taking my hand. Cole's touch was too hot, too firm. It made my skin crawl.
Finally! Let go of me! You can't keep me from seeing her forever!
You can't be here, sir. This is the intensive care unit. Family only. She is in critical condition. Please come with me into the hall.
I can see her if I want to. She's my girlfriend. She has been in here for days and no one will tell me what's going on.
I am sorry, sir, but as you are not listed as her emergency contact, and since I do not have any proof of your relationship with the patient, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Doctor's orders. If her family can verify your story when they get here...
She has no family. No one is coming for her. She only has me.
Be that as it may, you still need to leave. If she wakes up and asks for you, we will come find you. Until then, please return to the waiting room.
If? If she wakes up? Where's her doctor? I want to talk with him now.
She will be in contact with you when we know more. Please.
I didn't dare open my eyes until their voices faded. It sounded like a security guard had come to assist. As they left the room, the hospital door slammed behind them. When I finally looked back at the man in black, he gave me a curious look. It's better if he thinks I never woke up.
That's noble of you.
Yeah, noble. Thanks. I noticed that he frowned when he glanced at his arm.
Elisha Shepard, it appears you are not as ready as we thought. I won't be collecting you.
Wait. What do you mean?
You're not going to be passing right now.
But am I still going to die? You can't just come in here, tell me that my time has come, and then take it back. Is this some kind of sick joke? I couldn't stop asking questions, even as he reached over to press the button on my morphine drip. The drug worked instantly. He turned to leave, but I tried to stop him. In my drug state, my hand slipped from his wrist. What's your name? My vision tunneled, and everything went black. This has been Chapter 1 of To Court Death, an episodic podcast. Written and directed by Leani Lopez. Starring Owen, Fogg, and Leani Lopez. Guest starring Connor MacDonald, Madalyn Sheehy, Alyssa Comeau, and Joshua Bonilla. Additional voices by Rosa and Monica MacDonald. Featuring music by Kevin MacLeod.